up, everybody? Thank you so much for joining. We're broadcasting on YouTube, Facebook, Clubhouse, Kick, Twitch, another Facebook page, and LinkedIn. Literally everywhere in the world. And this is episode 348 of This Week in Real Estate. If you thought watching episode 152 that Doc Ray, he doesn't have it in him, you were wrong. I'm still here. I'm not dead yet. More news today on the NAR front and their invite for me to go to the office. We're going to be talking about Compass and Zillow and Compass and Inman and a national MLS. Is a national MLS on the forefront? There's a lot of talk about it lately. And I am going to get to go to the headquarters someday. You know, this may be the year where I get my prediction correct. We're also going to talk a little bit about the economy. There's a new Fed person. We'll talk about them. We'll talk about luxury sales, winter weather, mortgages. And if we have time, I have a hard out at 1:30. I got another appointment. I got a buyer appointment at 1:30. The Zoom call, so I'll just be able to hang up on you guys and jump on there. So hopefully we'll be done by an hour and a half. But we're going to be talking about an influencer couple that pled guilty to a $5 million home renovation scam. So thanks everyone for joining today. I'm excited to get started. Yes, we do still have ice. We do still have ice on the ground, but it is not what it was. Yesterday, I think it was only supposed to get up to 40 or 50 degrees. I saw at the beginning of the week. It wound up getting up to 60 degrees, and we had a nice little rain in the morning. When you have a little rain in the morning and it's a little bit warm, it does have a melting effect, so we're all kind of melty, feeling way better. And I've got a fresh cup of coffee and ready to go. All right, who's the Inman? Drop a comment if you're at Inman. I know there are several regular listeners and some people that are usually with us and actually join the show via Clubhouse or text that have told me that they may not be able to make it this week because they should be sitting out in the audience right now at Inman. And they might be getting this notification and thinking, Ray's live. I need to exit this conference. But there is a replay. So don't forget, you can just download the podcast and listen. Most of our listeners are podcast listeners that download it weekly. And then I love getting messages from you guys that tell me where you're listening, why, and how. So thank you guys for listening to the show. Without further ado, let's talk first about some of the documents. We've spoken about Compass and some of the documents that came out and how they viewed Zillow. Well, now we have documents that shed light on how Zillow viewed Compass. Well done, by the way, on their thumbnail. I like how it has Compass and what was his name? Waxman, the CEO of Zillow at the time. It's got this text message that looks like, it's got the little green lines on it. Looks like it's old. And the text message says, I have to say, I'm really not liking the publicity on Compass and it's making me a bit uncomfortable. I feel like it's turning into a big joke. There was a breakdown in an email that talked about what Compass's three-phase marketing strategy versus Zillow. And then they have a map. And you can see the map has black X's on it, which are completely meaningless and not part of the internal documentation, but a great graphic representing exclusive listings, I believe is what they were trying to represent there. So really good graphic. I like it. It's kind of like the conspiracy theory type stuff. Okay, so among the court documents unveiled, part of the lawsuit between Compass and Zillow is its analyst Zillow conducted a potential threat to its future growth. The documents are part of an expansive trove that provides rare insights into Zillow's internal decision-making. And I have to say, it's not, I hate to kind of give away the ending here, but it's not really surprising. I feel like the analysis that they did of Compass was very similar to analysis that I used to do. I used to have a marketing company, was COO of that marketing company, and had to analyze other competing marketing strategies and then how we would do against them and all that. It's very, very similar to that. And I don't really see anything wrong with it. It's just interesting. So the documents note that Zillow has grown a stable of tools and services that are used in the vast majority of real estate transactions. According to the company, in addition to the home search lead generation, the company offers a potent customer relationship management tool and transaction management tool that are most widely used for tour scheduling software in the industry. Zillow software really, in essence, is the operating system, it says, for... Now, that doesn't make sense. I literally have it on silent, and hang on. Let's do a different version of Do Not Disturb. I don't know. All right, sorry, guys.
Is there a leave me the hell alone?
So I have it right now. I have it to where it will automatically, as soon as I start the show, it automatically switches to Do Not Disturb. And it's supposed to block all incoming calls and text. But when someone calls repeatedly, it still lets them through, and I can't figure out how to turn that off. So we'll figure it out. Anyway, so Zillow's software really, in essence, is an operating system for the real estate industry. That's what Mike Dopreet said, a prominent real estate tech strategist, told him. And this was an interesting statement from him. People don't realize how powerful that software is. I think it's probably involved in way more transactions than we think. In the same way Compass's exclusive inventory is threatening Zillow, you could say Compass or anybody else's software platform that threatens to gain market share is also threatening Zillow. That was Delpreet's analysis. Significantly, Compass unveiled its client-facing Compass One platform February 3rd, 2025. Less than 2 weeks later, the court document shows Steve Lake, Zillow's senior director of strategy and partnerships, asked a strategy analyst for a competitive teardown on Compass One, which is completely normal. Everyone does this. That's not controversial at all. Basically, they said there's overlap with Zillow's products. Zillow's analyst framed Compass One as a tool that extends clients' relationships beyond closing, providing home search, market analysis, and information for potential future transactions. I think the most interesting thing about this analysis is it really gives you insight into how they see themselves as a company and how they view their goal and what they're doing. And it says the goal is to keep customers engaged over the long term through Compass One. So this is what they were saying about Compass One, which is competing with them. In a nutshell, Compass One platform is a client-facing extension of Compass's end-to-end agent platform, which Compass built. In the analysis, Zillow noted overlap with some of its own products. Among other things, Compass One includes features that appear to compete with Zillow's Zestimate. Rather than setting up a home tour through ShowingTime, which Zillow bought in 2021, buyers can request through their profiles on Compass One. They can request a showing, which almost any CRM has that now. The portal also suggested some Compass tools may have an advantage over Zillow's. So it said, while Loop is a transaction management tool that allow agents to collaborate on docs, Compass One also gives clients better insight into transaction steps. Buyers and sellers receive real-time updates on tasks, deadlines, and documents during the deal, and all displayed in an easy-to-understand timeline. While Compass has more developed client-facing portal than Zillow, it seems that Zillow leads in back-end software. So Zillow owns CRM, and scheduling technology is basically what they're talking about. So Zillow found that Compass One might give the brokerage a higher attachment rates for ancillary services and products such as home loans. With their tighter integration and transaction process and greater control of agent-client communications. That's a key phrase. It's reasonable to expect a higher financing attach rate on Compass-led transactions. Listen to what they say here, which goes, this actually speaks a lot to the communications that allegedly Zillow was trying to have that would control what agents say about other financing services, doesn't it? Because this quote says, this is from the analyst, with tighter integration of the transaction process and greater control of agent-client communications. Weren't we talking about not too long ago, Zillow seeing communications between agents and their clients through Follow Up Boss? greater control of agent-client communications, it's reasonable to expect a higher financing attach rate. So if they can find a way to control agent-client communications, then they can have a greater financing attach rate. Interesting. Zillow declined a request related to the analysis. And then they just give a general PR blast on it. So it's normal. It's very normal to analyze a company and their competing products and services. That's very, very normal. What's interesting is how it gives us insight into who they think they are. Private listings and the flywheel effect was one of their big concerns. If Compass agents have no choice but to use Compass's tools for some of their listings, agents would likely question if Zillow products are significantly better to offset the inconvenience of using two distinct software systems and different clients. Zillow also feared the flywheel effect of agents and consumers feeling like they need to work with an agent at a brokerage that had a robust private listing network. Which, by the way, they can legally do right now. I mean, I hate to harp on this because I feel like we talk about this every time it comes up. The private listing network for a brokerage can happen right now. What Compass is trying to do is share the listings from their private listing network with other brokers, which means you could have a buyer from another brokerage and you could go buy a property in Compass's private listing network. What they can do now is have a private listing network that's only open to them as Compass agents.
What about the companies that Compass owns now? Since they bought Christie's and Anywhere and a few others, what does that allow them to do corporately as far as a private listing network?
Yeah, they haven't really spoken about the merger in terms of any kind of back end or brand takedown. If I was them, the way I would do it is let all the brands just stay the same for now, because every agent's going to get mad they have to change their sign. And every agent that was thinking about leaving is going to leave because they're going to say, hey, if I'm going to change my sign, I'm going to change it somewhere I want to be. So if I were them, I would allow each one of those brands to stay true to their brand currently, but then give them a white labeled platform backend that shows Christie's if you're a Christie agent. If you're a Compass agent, it shows Compass. If you're who's someone else? Berkshire? No, wait, that's different. If you're Century 21, it shows you Century 21. Caldwell shows you Caldwell. So whenever you go into these back-end systems, and now you have a brand new, software management tool or a transaction management tool, you have brand new software and systems for all this stuff, and it's labeled with your current brand, but all of those brands then talk together. So you have a larger private listing network that's under the parent brand. I could definitely see that happening. And if that happens, Zillow they're in trouble. So I don't know. Well, that's a great question, Andy. There's no talk of anyone losing their brand. So if they don't lose their brand, they are distinct brokerages in those areas. So they theoretically could not have the same private listing network. But if they do some paperwork, that's basically all they would have to do, is do some paperwork that puts all those brands under the same parent brokerage. And now, boom, they could share.
Yeah, I figured it'd be something simple. It's just a legality that you'd have you bypass with some paperwork among all of them to put everything under one umbrella of corporate. You just happen to be, a franchise or an affiliate underneath that corporate.
Yeah. And then if they do have a back end like that, I could see them becoming like a slide type company to where you could just take your brand and overlay it onto their software. But it would probably be expensive to do, but I could see that happening as well. Zillow's comment on the flywheel effect in their analysis said this could result in an even lower total addressable market for Zillow products if other brokerages follow Compass's footsteps. The analysis said developing in-house tools and blocking out Zillow tools from private listing networks was a big fear. So in other words, if you have a private listing network, you couldn't use Dotloop, you can't use Showing Time, you can't use Follow Up Boss, and you couldn't use Zillow, of course. If a significant portion of listing goes to PLNs first, then brokerages that control the software integration with their portals, their analysis said, there may be a reasonable trade-off for agents between the quality of their CRM software and the extra pool of business they can access through PLNs. So PLNs was a huge driving fear and concern. Not to be outdone. I mean, if you thought during Inman Week that Reffkin would be silent on this stuff, you were wrong. But what he has talked about may surprise you. A national MLS? What? Reffkin floats the idea for a national MLS and says Compass previously declined to make a deal with Zillow. Now, we've known about the decline deal with Zillow thing. Okay? The decline deal with Zillow thing. If you recall, Compass came out and said, hey, they offered us like $1.3 to $1.6 billion not to put our listings on a private listing network and instead to list them on Zillow, to keep everything on Zillow. And we declined that deal. And instead, now we're suing them. So that's not new news. The new news, and I think he's kind of hinted at this for a while, but they just came out and said, you should have a national MLS. So Compass said they're at war with, quote, organized real estate. Does that kind of sound to some of you? I hate to be a conspiracy theorist. Does that kind of sound to some of you like organized crime? Is he hinting that the NAR is a mafia-like cartel? We're at war with what it calls organized real estate. Okay. His first public.
Well, if you're Reffkin, I mean, it seems like a mafia war.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Hey, use this tool or we're going to bust your kneecaps. Right?
Yep.
Yeah. You gotta sign up and be with all of us because that's what everyone's doing. And if you don't, we're going to sue you. We're going to come after you.
Sure for.
I just think it's interesting that he said organized real estate instead of like real estate cartel. I think you could also use real estate cartel and it'd be something very similar, but he sanitized this in a way that a lot of people are not going to catch, that he's calling the real estate bigwigs a mafia. But how else can you take that and it be so if you're at war with something, you think that thing is bad, right? Real estate being organized does not sound bad. So obviously he's saying organized real estate in a organized crime way because he thinks that's bad, right? So, I mean, just context clues here. Yeah, he's calling them a cartel. Interesting. These are his first public comments since the big merger, and maybe even since the announcement of one of the lawsuits. He said, I believe we shouldn't have. Do y'all know how many MLSs there are? Does everyone know? How many MLSs are there? Somebody that has not read the article, how many? Does anyone know how many MLSs? Take a guess. Clubhouse folks, take a guess. How many MLSs are there currently?
150.
Ooh. No, not 150. Who else wants to guess? Jack is out. Scappa. Oh, there you go, Andy. Andy, go ahead. How many MLSs are there?
181.
181 is wrong. I'm so sorry. So sorry, Andy. Anyone else want to guess how many MLSs are there currently in the U.S.? Terry? Mike? Terry, go ahead. Terry, I see you. How many MLSs are there?
I think there's 50.
50 MLSs. Oh, no, not 50 MLSs. Scap, I saw you unmute. How many MLSs are there, Scap?
75.
No, you're still wrong. All of you have gotten this way wrong. Mike.
237.
And Mike chimes in with the wrong answer. None of you got this
At
right.
least say higher or lower. Make a game out of it.
No, you can't. It's, on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, it's it. Okay, all right. We'll do this. You guys are gonna have to chime in. Is it 200, 100, 300, or over 500? Well, we could say like over 300 too. That's fine. Over 300, over 500. I'm not going to give you an exact number. 100, 200, 300, or 500?
Over 300.
Over 300, Andy says, and is still wrong. Good grief, guys. I mean,
So it's got to be over 500.
The correct answer, there are over 500 MLSs. To be exact, there's 518 MLSs. I believe that brokerages should come together and create a common MLS that brokerages and agents own and treats everyone fairly and equally without fines and bans. Hallelujah. He liked the concept to how banks cooperated to restructure Visa and take it public in 2008. If every brokerage came together and created one national MLS owned by brokerages, and by the way, I'd love it if Brian, he promotes the Bright MLS CEO. He said, great, let's do this. Let's create one national MLS and work across the country. And then they create a new super site. That's what should happen. What?
No one
Other than
wants to
NAR,
give up
who would
their
be against
style.
Who could?
Sorry.
Go ahead, Jack. You said other than NAR, who could be against it?
Yeah.
Totally.
Well, every MLS who's going to lose money.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we tried to get one to join Bright years ago when it was still trend, and they're like, no, and I still go onto their site and I can't find anything. It's like their site makes zero sense to me, but they would not give up their site.
Yeah. I have to give Megan Gardner a shout out, who put in the chat 1,000 MLSs. You're close, half 50%. 100% too high. You're so close, but it was good to go up. No one else guessed that high. I mean, yeah, it's a politics game right now, which is keeping this from happening. But if all the brokerages got together and said, "Hey, we're going to do this," then they really couldn't do much about it. I mean, the brokerages just need to put their money where their mouth is and say, this is what we're going to do. But in order to do that, you have to have some kind of platform out there that might be available, something that maybe everyone could purchase and get behind, like a homes.com, perhaps. Reffkin totally ignored that comment by Brad. So Brad Inman was like, yeah, like y'all could buy homes.com and everyone could do that. No, he didn't even acknowledge that, which is interesting. It makes me wonder, either something is happening or that's not what he's talking about at all.
I mean, why buy another couple $1 billion worth of debt? It's already underwater.
Yeah. He said it could have an independent board. Whoa, you're breaking up really bad, Jack. I can't understand you. He said Compass would have no disproportionate ownership when it comes to national holdings. It would have an independent board that would work independently in every way. It should work just like Visa, he said. Reffkin also shared his insight about Zillow. Well, I'll see. We'll get to the Zillow thing in a minute, but I think, is he the first major CEO that has talked openly about a MLS for all brokers with a public site, super site? I can't remember another CEO saying anything like this. So, and y'all know I've had my feels about Compass in the past. As a matter of fact, we dogged them on the show previously when they were with their recruiting practices, is they would go and analyze a company and say, hey, we want to buy you out. And they would look at the top producers and then go just recruit the top producers and say, never mind. So we dogged them on that when they were going through those lawsuits because we just didn't feel like that was right. We also dogged them on just doing VC runs and not really making any money. They did that for years and years and years. So y'all know I'm not like a Compass shill for sure, but where I agree with him, I agree with him. And so I definitely agree with their take on the way forward for real estate agents. And I think that's really the only disruptor that could happen in real estate. I don't think there's anything else that could disrupt anything else that's going on because it's too political. There's too many claws on the money. And I'm looking at a disruption like changing the flow of dollars and putting it back in the pockets of agents and taking it out of these super giant companies making tons of money off of real estate agents. I mean, if we want lower fees, what if every agent could get 30 to 40% of their money back instead of having to pay it to Zillow? Well,
so are you still giving money to some kind of a platform then that is fighting for housing and people on the political level?
Why would you need to?
I'm asking. I mean, like I'm asking
I wouldn't.
because
I don't give money to them now.
Okay. So
I don't believe in what they're doing.
Who ultimately makes those decisions then?
Well, we the people.
Or educates. Who educates, I think, is the better question.
You, the agent.
Yeah, but you'd have to pay a fee.
Yeah,
you'd have to pay a fee for something, right?
You have to pay a fee for the MLS, but that's not a lobbying. Just because everyone's together in the MLS doesn't make them a government lobby.
Agreed.
So, I mean, yeah, there's probably a fee to join this MLS, but it's probably also going to be paid by the broker, or the broker will negotiate that with agents. You know, a broker that says, yeah, I'll cover your fees. That's pretty attractive to a new agent. They don't have a monthly MLS fee, but some brokers that are like, we have a $12,000 cap. You're going to have to pay $25 a month to this new super site. Okay. That sounds good. But what does that have to do with the lobbying arm? The MLSs and NAR should be separate anyway.
I agree with that. I do agree with that.
So if you want to join the housing lobby arm, you can just send them your money. But should it be mandatory? No. I don't agree with everywhere NAR spends my dollar politically. So I call my senators and I call, my congressmen when there's a housing issue, and I let them know, usually when I'm driving around showing houses. I'll let them know how I feel, and we have this podcast to try to educate people on some of that stuff that's going on because we cover it in the news a lot.
And you can still have stuff at the state level.
Yeah, state and local is really, yeah.
Yeah, this is where a lot of this really happens as far as like changing laws and all that for that. So you can still have state level, quote unquote, realtor stuff, but like the national stuff, I don't think needs to be there. Not with the way they've shown that they've run that.
I don't know how it's going. Now, you could also have, if all the brokers are coming together for this MLS thing, theoretically, all the brokers could come together and say, hey, let's hire a couple of lobbyists to make sure that we, keep taxes low. And there's some benefits for taxes for real estate agents because we are in housing and, they want to cut the red tape on development. But that, the National Association of Home Builders kind of do the same thing, and they don't have these crazy policies and rates and things like that NAR does. So they're the closest thing to something like that. The appraiser board, they have their thing, right? SCAP, do y'all have a lobbyist for home appraisers?
Oh hell no. No, we don't.
So yeah, I mean, they go vote. So yeah, I don't think that part is necessary or necessarily has anything to do with the MLS itself and the super site. I think that additional service would be great. They also talk about Zillow. We've already talked a little bit about Zillow. I want to get Zillow's full response in here because Zillow, Errol, Samuelson hit back at Compass on Inman. So Samuelson's chief industry development officer made the comments while on stage. He said that Robert Reffkin was not being truthful with all of you. That's a statement. During his remarks, Reffkin said that Zillow offered $1.3 billion to $1.6 billion to Compass if we prevented our agents from marketing off of Zillow. But Samuelson pushed back against this, so that you all remember the revenue uplift is what it was called, the revenue uplift. He said, we did not offer him $1 billion, which in fairness, he didn't say $1 billion. He said 1.3 and 1.6, but we'll see. He said, we did not offer them $1 billion. We discussed in a meeting, what we discussed in that meeting were products that were either currently available or currently under development that Zillow, that we thought Compass could use to grow their business. So Zillow offered various terms for a potential partnership, including a variety of public offerings and benefits that Zillow predicted would result in Compass earning an additional $1.3 billion to $1.6 billion, doubling Compass's market share. Not that they were going to give them the money, but that with these various offerings and potential partnership, they would make 1.3 to 1.6 billion. How does that sit with you guys? Who's telling the most truth? Reffkin says they offered us 1.3 to 1.6 to not do the private listings. Zillow said, no. We just offered them a potential partnership, including a variety of public offerings and benefits that Zillow thought Compass would earn an additional 1.3 to 1.6 billion. I feel like they're saying the same thing. If I offered someone a job and I said, hey, this job, if you come in here and do everything that you're supposed to do, we're going to pay you $100K. And then that person said, I didn't go to work for them because they offered me $100K. I wanted $150K. Could I then argue like, no, I didn't offer you $100K. I said you could earn $100K. I think saying that Reffkin was not truthful is a stretch. I think they're saying the same thing differently. One of them says, no, it was a deal that they could make 1.3 billion. We weren't just going to give them 1.3 billion. Okay. What's the difference, man? Anyway, Compass was not interested. According to the transcripts of the deposition, Hoffman said that Zillow offered at a high level, what we thought were a pretty interesting set of ways to work together and to grow our business together. But the two companies disagreed Tuesday, even on the rule's fundamental definition. During his session, Reffkin said that the rule bans the public marketing of listings that are on Zillow. The comment is in line with others Compass leaders have made in the past, arguing that the standards are not about private listings, but actually Zillow's access to those listings. However, Samuelson offered a different take on Tuesday, saying that the portal's rule does not say you have to put it on Zillow. It says you have to put it on the MLS. And most MLSs, if you put it on the MLS, it goes to Zillow. Except now, I guess a lot of them do have the, what's it called? Delayed marketing. That means Realtor.com gets it, Homes.com gets it, Redfin gets it, he said. Yeah, that's the point. Samuelson also criticized the concept of private listings more generally, saying the U.S. had a uniquely open real estate system that was superior to those in other countries. I do agree with that. And he floated the term hidden listings as a potential alternative to the more common private listings terminology. If you get a large broker hiding listings in a dark pool that's only accessible to their agents, you're going to see other large brokers do the same thing very quickly. Can we pause? Can we pause right here? I just want to say it one more time so everyone hears it very plainly. If you get a large broker hiding listings in a dark pool that's only accessible to their agents, you can do that right now. That is what Clear Cooperation allows you to do. There's nothing preventing a large broker right now from taking all of their listings and putting them on their own private network and letting all of their brokers and agents access those listings and keeping it all in-house. The Clear Cooperation policy lets you do this right now. What Reffkin's trying to do is allow other brokers into that system so people outside of the brokerage can see the listings. So when you know that...
Like the MLS?
No, they don't want it on the MLS. When you know that, and you see if you get a large broker hiding listings in a dark pool, it's only accessible to their agents needs to be changed, right? You could say approved agents. You could say partnering agents. But their agents is a misnomer because that's not what they're trying to do. You're going to see other large brokers do the same thing very quickly. Yeah. That's why Compass says, hey, all the brokerages, let's get together and let's do our own thing. That's why he's wanting to do that, because then it pretty much just cancels out Zillow, Redfin. Well, Redfin is a brokerage, but it cancels out Zillow, Realtor.com, and Homes, Trulia, Movato. All those third-party sites that take our listings and then try to sell back the leads to us are over when you do that. I mean, I suppose they could still stay out there and try to make money, but it's going to cut significantly into their profit margins. And that's the reality of what they're trying to prevent.
Well, and all of the brokers are already pissed off at NAR for screwing up the settlement.
Sorry, I had to take a long sip of coffee. Yeah. Yeah. They've had to pay a lot of money doing things that they were told they would be fine to do. And they're not, and it was not. They talked a minute about agentic AI. I thought this was interesting. I'm a big fan of AI. Samuelson also criticized the concept. Oh, wait, hang on. Through the competing comments about Compass and Zillow, executives dominated hallway conversations. Though, man, I cannot read today. Though the competing comments about Compass and Zillow dominated the hallway conversations, Samuelson's session ranged over a host of other topics as well, including artificial intelligence. He explained that right now, products such as chatbots are valuable tools, but that soon real estate may be more agentic. Agentic AI is a huge buzzword. I'm going to try to find, oh yeah, here it is. This means the AI will not just answer questions, but will proactively complete tasks. An example Samuelson described was Date Night, which AI tool not only tells someone what time the movie's playing, but also buys tickets, books a dinner, reservation, calls to Uber. So it's becoming an extension of you. This is the idea. This is what everyone wants. There's specifically one out there that a lot of people are talking about called OpenClaw. And I encourage you not to install OpenClaw on your machine just yet. Install it on a secondary machine and play with it until you know what you're doing. It does not have guardrails. And something that doesn't have guardrails like that means that it could just buy stuff for you. And if it gets, your credit card and it sees that you're having trouble with a certain task, it could sign up for a course for you. There have been all kinds of reports, and some of those reports are likely not, people are getting clicks on TikTok, but some of them are very true, and you could see them on the message board, the AI message board called Moltbook. I believe it's MOLTBOOK, which is kind of like Facebook, but it's for AI agents, and they're talking about their humans and what they're doing in the task, and it's very interesting. Now, some bots may be on there just to deceive. Some are real. It's very interesting. And we actually had a call yesterday. So every first Tuesday of the month, we have a call that goes over usually trends and tactics in the real estate industry and how AI can either apply to that trend or tactic, or that trend or tactic described. It could be AI, like the whole trend. And we had one yesterday with Pritesh Damani, the real chief technology officer. Here's our, this is the trends and tactics thumbnail I made for that call. It's not an open replay. We have it on a school. So if you're interested in that, send me a message. You can either text me or send it to me on Instagram, Ray Zorback, RayZorback. But for the audio listeners, it's a picture of Pratash with an open claw t-shirt. He's got an angel on him. On the left side, on the right side, it's a picture of Pratash with devil horns and an open claw shirt with a not so kind open claw. And in the middle, he's got a Leo shirt. Leo is the real brokerage AI. So we had a fun conversation with him. You have to check that out if you're interested. But open claw is agentic AI, meaning it'll figure out what you're trying to do and will start to help you do those things like an assistant would. And it's really kind of the next evolution in AI. And some people say, well, these message boards are concerning because it's talking about the users and it's sentient, and it isn't. AI, and I saw a wonderful breakdown by a computer science lady. AI in its truest form is a next word predictor. That's what it is. It's like your autocorrect, right? It's a next word predictor. And it tries to look at what's happening and predict the next thing. And then it builds on itself. So one of the reasons why this Moltbook AI message board thing took off is because it looked like the AI was mimicking human behaviors on message boards like Reddit. And they were, but that's about as deep as they actually go. So they're just mimicking what they see. And so when you sign up for a message board, it goes and searches and says, okay, what do these message boards look like? How do people interact with them? And then it starts to get on there and interact. Now it can actually do things. The agentic AI can actually do things, which makes it a little bit different because it could do something. But it's kind of like, and I described it on the call with Pratash, you know, when you see a business storefront and above the storefront, you see the store's logo and everything on a really nice, like it's above, you have the storefront down here, and then you have this nice wall basically, and it looks like a really big building. But then when you look at that row of storefronts from the side view, you realize that that's just like a really thin facade and there's nothing behind it. That's the current status of agentic AI and AI as a whole, is that it seems deeper because we interpret it as deeper and more meaningful than it actually is. It's like putting adult emotions on a kid. You know, when a kid does something, you interpret this like really meaningful thing, and then you ask them about it, and they're like, "No, I farted." That's that's what the current status of AI is. Now it could grow, it could change, but that's where it is. So anyway, Zillow is looking at the agentic AI. And so we'll see where that goes. I mean, I could view a situation in which someone, the agent, quote unquote, the agent AI knows that someone is searching for a home, what type of the home. Maybe they're keeping tabs on the person's daily task and they know everything about them, what they need. They go out and they present a couple of property options to the person saying, hey, I saw you talking about needing more space based on everything that you do currently. This is what may be your next step. I found these properties available. If you're interested in those, I'll set them up. The guy's like, yeah, I'm interested in these too. And then suddenly those are scheduled along with this calendar, reaches out to the real estate agent. It all gets done. And the person doesn't really have to do anything. They weren't even searching for a home. That would be rad. A really good use case for something like Zillow. Matt LaMarche is here. What's up, man? I said, sorry, I'm late. What did Scap say that I can dispel? What's up, Matt?
Not much. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
February.
I can't believe it's already February.
Hey, what episode number is this?
248.
Two more. Okay. I'm going to clear my calendar in 2 weeks.
348.
348.
Yeah, 248.
Oh, okay.
You're almost at 350, baby.
I've got a huge announcement for that show. So
awesome. I can't wait.
Thank you.
I appreciate you doing the likes and subscribes.
Gotcha.
All right, let's talk more about Nationwide MLS. So we kind of took a reprieve and got back on Zillow's comments from Compass as they kind of went back. But The MLSs are also at Inman, and one of the MLS chief said that brokerages are talking out of both sides of their mouth on consolidation demands. What? So basically they're saying, yeah, all these brokerages, they say they want a big national MLS, but they're talking out of both sides of their mouth. What does this mean? Canopy MLS CEO Anne-Marie DeCatsy, D-E, capital C-A-T-S-Y-E. Oops. And Real.com CEO Damon Eales and Next Home CEO James Dwiggins talked about consolidation, data transparency, in the national MLS. Now, as a reminder, Next Home CEO did take a deal, I believe, from Zillow. So they won't be doing private listings anytime soon, I don't think. I believe they were in that article. I could be wrong, but if I remember correct, that is correct. Okay, there are plenty of numbers between 1 and 500, but only one matters to Canopy Multiple Listing Service CEO Anne-Marie DeCatsy, 25. She said, I don't think there should be more consolidation. I do think there should be more consolidation, both on the MLS side and the association side. She told Inman Connect New York Crowd, there shouldn't be 500 MLSs. There definitely shouldn't be one, though. I don't know what's the definite. Why not definitely shouldn't be one, though? She said, I don't agree with just one. Again, why? But I do think there should be maybe 25 MLSs in the country. I feel like she's just pulling this out. 25 MLSs is the first step to full consolidation. Actually, probably 300 MLSs is the first step to consolidation. 25 MLSs is probably super close to consolidation. I feel like this is the opposite of the playoff situation in college football, right? We used to only have one national championship game, and now there's how many, like 12 or something crazy. We're going the opposite direction with MLSs, but you can't just go from 500 to 1. That's for sure. She said, although her vision would effectively eliminate local MLS and associations, she said it would benefit brokerages and consumers by delivering a more efficient MLS system. The CEO said Canopy has acquired 12 smaller MLSs over the years, ballooning Canopy's subscriber base to roughly 23,000 agents in North and South Carolina. There needs to be consolidation of realtor associations as well. And any smaller realtor association or even larger ones that are using the MLS as a value proposition on the association have it wrong. Let me read that one more time. Any MLS that are using the MLS as a value proposition on the association side have it wrong. The association is not a benefit of the MLS. MLS should be a benefit of the association, should not be a benefit of the association. The association has its own benefits. That's a wonderful, I love that take. But again, I go to this like, why 25? There's 50 states. Aren't there still 50 states? And how many territories? I feel like you could have one per state and you'd have more than 25. I don't know. She said, I do think right now that the brokers are kind of talking out of both sides of their mouth because brokers need to step up and demand consolidation and not kowtow to their agents who want to stay part of smaller associations. So she said, it's not the brokers, it's the agents at those brokerages saying, hey, can I join the little town MLS over here? And the broker's like, oh, yeah, all right. So the broker joins it for that one agent.
But having just one wouldn't solve that, right?
That's my curiosity. Like, I feel like having one would solve it, would solve that problem. And that would not be a thing. Because why does that little town agent want to join that MLS? Normally it's to get a listing in that MLS over there, or to search that MLS over there for their clients.
This conversation is freaking everybody out. And it's a big game of musical chairs. And everybody's sort of, playing to the music and going around the chairs. And, who knows if the music stops or not.
Yeah. Who does it freak out? It freaks out those that are making money in the associations. And it freaks out the little MLSs around the country that have been so politicky that they want to keep everybody out.
And NAR for control, and Zillow for their business model, and every other portal for their business model.
Yeah.
But back to the big question, what's in the best interest of us? Yeah, and I'm not trying to join little MLSs.
I think you can twofold that question. What's in the best interest of agents and what's in the best interest of consumers? And I think the answer is the same thing. One big, unified, simple experience.
100%. That we control.
Yeah, the only downside I could see to that.
The calls go to the agent.
Yeah, calls go right to the listing agent or the listing broker. I think the only downside I could see to that is the same downside that I see to, one big way for national voting. It's a lot easier to hack one thing instead of 50 things. But it's also a lot easier to secure one thing instead of 50 things. So it definitely needs some, it needs this huge security wing or security arm on that. But I think one is going to be best.
Like Visa. I mean, I haven't heard them getting hacked lately.
Yeah. David Nails says, I find it quite extraordinary because to me, coming from another country where there is no MLS, where brokerages and listing agents and sellers have to pay to be advertised, it's free in this country. So it's not free. We all pay for the MLS. You do pay for it. He said, of course, the ecosystem can be improved, he said, also from the Connect stage on Tuesday. But to diminish the ultimate value of this great cooperative, the American system of real estate is absurd as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I don't think anybody's saying get rid of MLSs. I don't know what we're saying go to one MLS. We're not saying get rid of the MLS. We're saying just have one. So DeCast recently collaborated with Realtor.com in the release of Realtor.com Plus. You remember we talked about that last week? The collaborative home search experience for agents and their buying clients.
We're also trying to take control of our data again, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I mean, I think the linchpin was Zillow Flex. I don't think anyone had a problem with Zillow advertising themselves and then sending you leads back as they would advertise your properties and would advertise themselves, and people would come to the site. People are like, it's okay, but I give them $1, I make $3. It's a pretty good trade. But as soon as Flex came and they're like, all right, give us 40% of your income, I think everyone started going, okay, wait a minute here. This is commission compression and this is a big deal. But there were also some people giving $100,000 a month to Zillow. So the reality is we've done the research that the majority of these things, the majority of these listings get re-entered by the consumer back into the portal. Why? The reason consumers do that is because the portals offer a better experience. It's because we invest hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars into our brands and into our user experience. So he's trying to say the portals are your friend. He says that Realtor.com Plus is an example of what synergistic partnership between MLSs and portals can look like. I don't know. I mean, for me, it's a product offering. I don't really see a huge benefit in that. But one of the things I like about a national MLS is you don't have to worry about these little partnerships and stuff, because an integration like that could also crash your local MLS. And that would be bad. So if it has a national MLS, you don't have to worry about that at all. I also think that maybe what's the MLS's name here? Hang on. Canopy multiple listing service. One of the reasons, like she's saying, oh, just do 25 is because she's probably envisioning a future in which they are one of those 25. Whereas if you honestly think about the national MLS, who would be number one? Well, it would be probably NAR. And so now her business is gone.
Whoa, why NAR, number one? And number two, think of the people that are going to be against this are pretty powerful. So if you think of, and those people are everybody whose business model is threatened.
Yeah. Well, I guess maybe not NAR, but a national board that's currently independent from any current MLS. Or maybe they'll take all the MLS's heads of the biggest MLSs and put them on the board. They'll put some big industry people on the board. And then they'll probably have a consumer or two on the board, right?
Or maybe it's a nonprofit. I mean, it doesn't have to combine to turn into something super big.
I mean,
well, it does, but
yeah, it will for sure, for sure will. Now, I guess you'd have to have something in there to where the MLS can't get bigger than the brokerages, right? So the MLS could get so big that you have to be in that MLS in order to have any success, like the local board. And then because of that, you have little struggling brokerages that can't even start up because they don't have the capital to buy into the MLS or whatever. So you got to be careful not to make it so big that only the 5 biggest players or 10 biggest players are the ones that have total control. It definitely needs to be open somehow. Flaws aside, Next Home CEO James Dwiggins, who appeared on stage with Eels and DeCast, said that the MLS system is needed. Otherwise, the industry risks a scenario in which few companies control the lion's share of the listings and hold them in private listing networks, which again, Dwiggins, can currently happen. That's what your clear cooperation that you love so much allows. God, it's like they don't read it. I just don't understand. I think the entire audience needs to realize what game is about to be played here. You have a conglomerate that, depending on where they are, has in some cases 60% of the market share. And I think the idea of private listings will go much further than a brand compass. They'll figure out a way to use that market share. And there's a part that everyone needs to realize. The other large companies aren't going to settle on the sidelines. Dwiggins said, Keller Williams, eXp Realty, RE/MAX, and Berkshire Hathaway could be at the center of the next major merger, with any of those 2 combined companies having the market share that rivals and eclipses Compass International Holdings. Yeah. And so you're looking at United. Oh, this is the airline thing. So you're looking at United, Delta, and American Airlines, the same thing in this business, he said. And then all the rules and all the politics and all the things we have, they won't give a shoot. The whole point of the MLS is so we don't go back to the way it was 40 years ago, where you didn't know what the hell is for sale. I really do get tired of saying it, but you can currently have exclusive listings just in your brokerage. It does not, you're not preventing Compass from having their own private listing network inside of their brokerage and only sharing listings within their brokerage and trying to double in the deal. Your NA rules currently allow it. So either change the rules or shut up. Victoria Canizo? Victoria Canizo, Cannizzo on Instagram said, I may have missed the beginning of this, but how will privately owned MLS get forced to merge into one or even a smaller number of MLSs? I ask because in New Jersey, we have 8 MLSs. Victoria, you probably, I'm not going to say Victoria, you probably missed earlier in the show. How many MLSs do you think we currently have? Don't look it up. Nationwide, how many MLSs do you think there are? I'm going to wait on your answer and then I'll tell you. Oh, maybe I should do hang on. Let's see if I can find it. I'm probably going to get a copyright strike from Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. You gotta guess, because now I have music playing. No one knew. I had everyone guess, and just so you know, everyone got it wrong.
Matt wasn't here the first time. He can chime in too.
Where'd he go? He's gone now. He's probably playing golf. All right, Victoria, we're all waiting on you to guess a no. You got to guess a no.
Come on, Victoria.
Come on, Victoria. And it's delayed too, so she won't hear this until another 8 seconds. 800. You're wrong. You're wrong. But in a way, Victoria, you were also the closest. So everyone guessed like 100, 200. We actually have 518. So not quite 800, but 518. So part of the issue is, and you asked a great question, how will a privately owned MLS get forced to merge? So what they're suggesting is that all the brokerages come together and create this MLS. So all the brokerages get together and say, hey, I've got data, you've got data. We are all going to get together and create our own MLS as these big, giant brokerages. And then you're going to have smaller brokerages that are like, ooh, okay, we're in. and that's how it happens. But in order to do that, one of these MLS people said that you have to basically you got to get out of the small associations that control the MLSs. You've got to unjoin them. And then they basically die on the vine. So.
Is there like a club for the brokers?
I mean, wouldn't that be cool if there was like one big organization that represented all the voices of the brokerages and agents, and we could just join that organization? And yeah, that would be cool. I can't think of anything like that.
No. There is, or odd.
What? You broke up.
It's odd that there isn't such an organization.
Yeah, right. I mean, that would be cool to have that kind of organization, but you never know. You kind of get all backstabby. Let's talk about airplanes. Not really. Airlines, maybe. So this is an interesting article over on Inman CEOs, real estate moving toward a United Delta American moment, which we just heard Dwiggins talk about. I don't think I like that. But EXP Realty CEO Leo Pereira and Remax Holdings Eric Carlson and Douglas Elliman CEO Michael Leibowitz attempted to answer the questions on Tuesday as hundreds of attendees filled the seats. One thing I always point to is history. Industries can go decades or even hundreds of years fragmented, but if you look, we have a pattern in this country. And all of you that have some gray hairs, like we do, grew up with a lot more airlines in this country. And now we have United, Delta, and American. We have basically 3 health insurance providers. And so I can't make any predictions, but what I can say is look at the historic pattern of consolidation. We see more and more consolidation. And so is it good or bad? That's yet to be determined. What do y'all think of consolidation? Is this a good thing or bad thing? I feel like there's more fragmentation than ever because everyone and their dog is starting their own little brokerage, their teamerage. So yes, while I see big companies like Compass and taking over these dinosaurs, I also see new little startups that don't intend to be a gigantic company, but they are their own little brokerage represented locally. And they're not trying to do $1 billion in business. They're trying to do $200 million in business. So I know there's a lot of talk about the giant consolidation, but airlines, in order to have an airline, you have to have more than one plane. And planes are expensive. In order to have a brokerage, you have to have a broker's license. And that's cheap. So while I think the analogy for the big giant companies, and you could call them dinosaurs, is apropos, where a lot of them could merge like Compass Anywhere, I think you will always have a playground of real estate agents who are becoming brokerages and starting their own thing with their own dream, and they're out there doing their own thing. Because you don't have to buy an airplane to be a real estate agent, unless you're Matt LaMarche.
Dang. I knew I should have stayed muted for a minute.
I mean, as soon as I see you unmute, I'm going to come up with something.
I mean, if you just end every sentence that way, it'd be a really successful
Unless you're Matt
show.
LaMarche, right? Yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Got him. So I think this is just what we call lazy journalism. There's so few metaphors for the real estate industry, in my opinion, that, like, having come from several Fortune 500 companies, those guys always refer to each other. Like they always use a metaphor out of someone else's business that's so far from the product or service that they actually do, because so many of those people move between those businesses. Like you're going to hurt someone's feelings. But in real estate, you can't hurt our feelings because we're in real estate, and so there is no comparison that I can draw. Any metaphor that you can,
unless you're an appraiser, I can totally hurt your feelings.
Well, appraisers are known to hurt our feelings, but it's not about this.
Yeah, and it's my client's feelings that you're actually hurting. It's not mine. I have no feelings. I'm a real estate agent.
They think the elephant in the room, and this is where they're so off. And it's embarrassing. I really wish Inman would be like, hey, can you come ask questions? Because my first question to Dwiggins, when he says like, oh, well, these brokerages are going to try to double in the deal, I'm going to say, well, how does clear cooperation prevent that currently from happening, Dwayne? And I'm going to see him blink fast and not know, because it's currently allowed. But they said the elephant in the room is what happens to private listings, right? I don't think anyone in this audience is unsure of my position on that. I fundamentally believe, as someone who sold 4,000 homes and sat in people's kitchens and had their people in their car and helped them protect their equity, that was my fiduciary responsibility to get the highest amount of money in the shortest amount of time. That's what I'll continue to do. That was Perea's, EXP's CEO. I do want to note, I believe EXP currently has a private listing network. So, whoopsie.
So we were talking about this the other day at our brokerage, because the number of transactions that have occurred between agents in our offices just here in Atlanta, and we only have 3, but the number is so ridiculously low that I can't comprehend how a quote unquote private listing, exclusive, I don't care what you call it, is in the best interest of your clients.
Well, I've had it before.
Okay.
So, and this is always an option for our clients. So I have a folder that I've shown on the show before. It's not by my desk right now, but it is off-market properties. And those are people that have expressed an interest to sell. They don't want to be marketed yet. They don't want to be listed yet. They don't even have their house ready to be seen, but they are interested in selling, and we know the price that they're interested in selling. Some of them have signed listing agreements with us, but they don't want to be publicly marketed at all. Now, a private listing network gives me the option to tell other agents at my brokerage, currently, because that's all you can do. Hey guys, we have this listing. If somebody has something, you need 4 bedrooms in this part of town, let me know. I know someone that's willing to sell, and here's the price they're willing to sell. It's a nice house. I can describe it. That person may never hit the MLS, doesn't want to be on the MLS. They don't want to be publicly marketed. I know another situation where a guy's an agent for the government, and if you Google his house, it's just a blur. And he said, I don't want pictures of my house anywhere on the internet. And I was telling him about, well, if we listed your property and just kept it off market in case we heard something, I mean, it's not a guaranteed sell. He's like, yeah, that's fine. We get time. We got like a year. So until I am out of this house, I can't have it online. Once I'm out of this house, I'm willing to list it and put the photos and all that kind of stuff. And I said, well, would it be a problem if somebody's like, I want to buy it, and worked with your time frame, but they wanted to go ahead and buy it? And he's like, no problem at all. So,
right. So how many people are in that folder?
Well, there's also a lot of builder listings that are not yet finished or completed. There's also a lot of people. So we have a lot, actually. So it's not like a high percentage of sales, but that's never been the point. The point is allowing a seller to sell like they want to sell, and not forcing a seller to say, hey, I would get more money for your property if I put it on Zillow. In both of these examples, they don't really care about getting more money. They want what they want. And if somebody didn't pay that, they don't buy the house, and they're fine with that. But they don't really care about, oh, now it's above ask, and now these people aren't going to ask for repairs. And now that would be nice, but it's nicer for them in these situations to not have to do anything to pick up because they have a bunch of kids, or in the other situation where there's a government agent, he's not going to be listed while he's here. So there are different reasons other than selling at the fastest at the highest price. That is a way that probably 90% of sellers want to do. They want a fast sell and they want the highest price, but there's a lot of people that's not the main concern. And so that's why for every listing presentation, you have to ask, why do you want to sell? What is your biggest concern when selling? Why would you hire a professional when you could just do it yourself? We ask those questions and the answers will surprise you. A lot of times it is, I want to sell. You're going to do the marketing. That's what we're into. And that's what, our value proposition is huge because we do all the videos and all that stuff. But there is a pretty big segment of the population that's not what they're looking for. They're looking for, I don't want a legal mistake. So I'm hiring a pro, and I know you have a big network and you can market the property off market. We've been told that several times. So there is a market for it. Is it big? No. But is it big enough to where you could have a private listing network and it gets serviced and used? Yeah, for sure. I think so.
Yeah. But the gray area is your agent informing the consumer properly about the potential of unrealized value versus doing it to keep a deal in house and
Correct.
Line their own pockets
Correct.
or their broker's pocket, and
100%.
that's the risk in the whole thing.
But that can be solved.
You're right.
That could be solved with mandatory disclosure, just like they have the wire fraud disclosures, just like they have the lead-based paint disclosure. You have a marketing exposure disclosure, where you say, hey, you're going to be selling your property off market in this network. It gets a limited number of people. You could get more people if you marketed it online, but even that, like you could also put it online and sell for less. I sold a property off market one time and I thought, man, had we listed this thing, and me and the seller both knew it. We talked about it. And the seller was like, had we listed this thing, we would not gotten it. It was because the buyer was afraid someone else wanted it, but it was unique. And we were like, nah, if we put this on the market, we're going lower than this. It would have been sitting for a while. And so we were really happy to sell it off the market. The seller was ecstatic that it went off market because they thought they were getting more money in that instance. So while you could have a disclosure, the disclosure shouldn't be bent one way or the other, because the disclosure can't also say you will make more money if you put it out there on the MLS, because that's not necessarily true. You may make less. So
it has to be a nationalized form.
Yeah. It could be something that says you will get more exposure if you are on the MLS. That's about all you can say, because you can't promise that it's going to sell for more. You can't promise that it will sell for less.
Yep.
All right. Good talk. Good talk, guys. Okay. Keller Williams is settling their Batton commission lawsuit for only $20 million. How much did they pay? How much did KW pay on Sitzer Burnett? Do y'all know?
Something like 300 million, 270 something, 250 something.
Oh, wait. It auto-corrected to the UK.
There's been so many lawsuits I've lost track of the dollars.
70 million. Keller Williams agreed to pay 70 million in the settlement to resolve Sitzer Burnett. So this one's a 20 million settlement on the buyer side. So not quite 60-40. Some of y'all will get that joke. What's up, Rachel? See you. Keller Williams has decided to put an end to its Batton buyer broker commission lawsuit. They settled for $20 million. Keller Williams is pleased to reach a nationwide settlement. And they're excited to move past the lawsuit. Batton 1, which involves Keller Williams, was originally filed in New Jersey homebuyer Judah Leader. Batton 2, which involves Compass, eXp World Holdings, Redfin, Weichert, United Real Estate Group, and Douglas Elliman, was filed in November 2023 by Maya Batton. The first lawsuit was named Batton 1 after Leader stepped down as lead plaintiff and Batton became the class representative. So there you go. The NAR says, we're not done yet. The NAR continues to pursue all legal options in the Batton case. They're still fighting. They said, this development does not directly affect NAR's position in the Batton litigation. We respect Keller Williams' right to settle the claims and anticipated possibility that they would do so. NAR remains actively engaged in the Batton Joint Defense Group, and we continue to defend our rules where questioned. Given the recent history and dynamics of this case, NAR continues to pursue all potential resolutions, both non-litigation and litigation, to result in the best interests of our members in the industry and consumers. Yeah, so I'm kind of not surprised by Keller Williams' move. Some people said, I thought Gary Keller would fight. He made that mistake the first time, if you remember. And his defense was, well, real estate agents are independent contractors. That was the defense. And that did not go over well with the jury. So I'm glad they're stepping out. I'd rather him not be part of the defense group, to be honest. All right, we have, I've got 8 minutes left. And I've got 6 articles. We're not going to get to the influencer 5 minutes. We're going to have to do that another time. I'm sorry. But we will do it another time. I want to show you these people because it's kind of interesting. But let's talk about the new Fed chair. On Friday morning, President Donald Trump announced its official nomination of Kevin Warsh to succeed Jerome Powell as the next Fed chair of the Federal Reserve. Nomination closed out months-long selection process. Interestingly, Kevin Warsh is a little more like Jerome Powell than he is Trump. So I thought that was interesting. Still, the nomination lands after years of Trump openly clashing with Powell and pushing for more aggressive rate cuts. I don't know what to think about it. Trump's frustration with Jerome Powell has been building since Powell took the office over in 2018. Warsh's nomination reflects both experience and philosophical shift. During the interview, Warsh advocated for regime change and expanded by saying, my view is that the group that's there, they are well-intended, I'm sure, and there's huge amounts of talent. They haven't had interest rates about right for a long time. They don't really look as they change goalposts like they have control and a deep understanding of what's going on. Credibility is the coin of the realm. I don't know. His previous statements, and I was looking for those statements. I honestly couldn't find it. We'll probably have to talk about this again another time. And there will be more news about it. But he seemed to be, he's definitely a little more, hey, let's drop rates. But he also is for keeping the Fed separate, which, a lot of people, they don't want that. And he's also for keeping the Fed, period. A lot of people wanted to end the Fed. It's a very far right position. And he is not that. So it sounds like he's somebody that Trump can continue to beat up and have slightly different viewpoints, while also him making fairly good decisions. Hopefully it'll be a lot more than Powell. Powell's not been great. So
he's still the chair may be influential, but he's still only one out of 12 votes.
Yeah, true. We'll see. We'll do a little more on him. We'll do a deeper dive and kind of look at what it entails. Let me hit these other articles real fast. Luxury home prices keep climbing despite sluggish demand. I mean, interestingly, we had a 2.2 on my team sell in like 30 days or less, which is crazy in this area. So that's really wild. And I really thought it was going to be on the market a lot longer based on the data. But this shows luxury home prices are still moving. They're going up 4.6% in December, and they are still selling. The sluggish, but they're still selling. Next up, homebuyers are scoring the biggest discounts in 13 years. Yay! Let's see, when was it? It was halfway through. It looks like 2012. It was around the 8% discount. We're at 7.9% discount right now. The typical home buyer is getting 3.8% discount. We're also seeing more properties that are on the market decrease their prices. But they're also keeping the gains that they've had. So home values increased, but along with that increase, they have now started to lower their list prices. We have 62% of homes sold below list. Dun, dun, dun. Typical discounts. That's just reframing the article that we just talked about. This is interesting. A surprising share of homeowners have a high mortgage rate. The headlines here is an average of a 30-year fixed rate moved to 6%, 5.5 million current homeowners. About 20% of borrowers have mortgages with a rate over 6%. That's a pretty big chunk. And then rough winter weather hits home buyers, tanking mortgage demand. Of course, that's going to happen whenever you look at this image. It's crazy. All these cars that are covered up in the street. So this happens every year about this time. Big winter storm comes through and you see home applications or purchase applications drop. We definitely saw that. We also saw a huge increase in the number of buyers that were looking at properties online and the number of inquiries we had. So now this week we've been actually showing a lot of those properties to people. So I'm looking forward to March. We've got a lot of closings that are happening in March, and we have more on the way. Don't have very many in February. I don't know if it was due to the weather or holidays or what, or maybe it was just my problem. But anyway, I'm interested to hear what you guys have. Be sure to drop a comment, like, follow, do all the podcasty things to the podcast. We'll be back next week for episode 349. And we're just 2 weeks away from episode 350. Just a reminder also, this is America's 250th year. So there will be a big celebration July 4th. Look for those celebrations around the country already happening. There's big 250 celebrations and parades and stuff that are going to be happening. So it's a pretty big year for that. I was just reminded that from a client that was like, yeah, it's my birthday a day before. And then the country turns 250, which is crazy. So that'll be a lot of fun. All right. Thanks guys for joining. Hit me up on Instagram. It's Ray Zorback, RayZorback. And remember, if you hate the show, there's no better way to show your hate than by showing up live every week, Wednesdays at 12 o'clock Central. Be sure you subscribe so that you can hate on the show live. All right. Thanks guys. I'll see y'all next week. Bye. Yes, I am in a sweater for the person that texts me. I am in a sweater.